What is up, nation? Today let's talk about Nintendo and what they may be planning for Zelda's 35th anniversary. So today I wanted to make a video about one of my favorite gaming series of all time, and that is none other than the Legend of Zelda series. Now we are coming up on the 35th anniversary for this franchise in February specifically, and we think that in the early part of 2021 that we will get some announcements from Nintendo on what they're going to be working on for the 35th anniversary collection. If it's anything like we saw from Mario, we'll probably get a compilation of multiple games together, and I do hope that we see them package in specific games as collections. And that's kind of what I want to talk through today, is what games I hope they do release and then when we might be able to expect those to actually hit the market. Now, before we do dive into all the details today, I just want to quickly invite you all to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy the content today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming and console news as we're in the new generation of gaming. And by the way, guys, doing that will enter you into my PS5 giveaway that I'm completing at the end of this month in January. But with that, guys, let's dive into the details. So the collection I'm going to talk about today in this video is the one that I'm hoping we see first, and that is the Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask HD collection coming to the Switch. Now, I think it makes a lot of sense for Nintendo to actually build this game as a dual release together, because we have seen these titles both already remade on the 3DS, and it's actually been 10 years, if you can believe that, since we saw the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time. Even if they use those engines and package them together and just upscale the graphics, that would still be a great solution. I certainly hope we see them go a little bit further than that and build them from the ground up. Now, the contrast to that idea is that we might see them do something a little bit more lazy, like the Mario collection, which was honestly, as much as I enjoyed playing through those titles, it was very clearly just emulated versions and touched up versions of the existing games. And what I don't hope we see is like an Ocarina of Time on the N64 version, but just with better textures, kind of like what they did with Mario 64. They didn't even give Mario 64 a widescreen mode, so we were playing a full screen scale game, a 4x3 game in 2020, if you can believe that. So let's hope that they go further for the Legend of Zelda series. I do personally have some speculation about that may have been tied to the pandemic, and maybe they wanted to put in more work into the Mario collection, but it was something that they weren't able to get it done in the year of 2020. So let's hope that with the Legend of Zelda we see a little bit better treatment. I think that it makes a lot of sense to go ahead and, even if it's just the 3DS versions of both of those games, refine them and release them for the Switch and then sell them together, which of course Nintendo could sell them separately at $60 a piece. That would obviously be something too. But the reason I think we need to see these games together is because Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask were developed about 2 years apart from each other, and it's kind of like one game has what the other one doesn't. So hopefully everybody's played through those games, but if you haven't, Ocarina of Time is more of the open world, open exploration, dungeon exploring, like dungeon heavy focused game. I mean, by the time you factor in the timeline of the child and the adult, there's literally like 10 or more dungeons that you're going to complete in that adventure, whereas Majora's Mask rather is actually more focused in on the characters, and you're getting very close to character specific storytelling, and then you only have 4 dungeons that you're going into, but you're getting to peel back what's going on in the world of these NPCs, and you get a really up close look at what kind of is in the world of Termina, which I really like. So I hope that what we see is, because what one game has the other doesn't, I hope we see Nintendo combine those two as one collection, because I just think it makes so much sense to play one after the other. So if we only get Ocarina of Time on the Switch and it's a full $60 title, and they ignore Majora's Mask, then I think we're at a point where, you know, if you're a new gamer and you don't have the console to go back and play Majora's Mask also, you're almost missing out on part of the experience, because I think they go together probably better than any 2 games that have been developed back to back with each other. So that's what I hope we see from Nintendo as my number 1 pick. Of course, it is totally possible that they could just go the route of a 3D collection similar to what we saw for Mario, but I think the way that I would hope that they would release this, if it it does happen is that we would actually get the 3DS version of Ocarina of Time at the bare minimum, and then Wind Waker HD, since that's already been done and is out on the Wii U, and then maybe they do an HD version of Skyward Sword and release it on the same console. Now, the reason I don't think we'll see that is because Zelda games are not quite the same as Mario games when it comes down to it. You can probably get upwards of 20-30 hours out of a Mario game if you really want 100% it, maybe 40 hours at max. But whenever you're talking a Zelda game, 100%ing that, the amount of gameplay that's in there, it can be 60 to 70 hours in a lot of the titles that they would put together on one cartridge. So I'd be very surprised if we see them do the 3 games in one thing, just like they did for Mario. I think that it makes way more sense to break down the big titles, slow down and do the gameplay changes and the graphical changes that we want to see for that, and then go ahead and release them in packs. So my prediction personally is that we see Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask on one compilation on the Switch, then hopefully we have a secondary release for something like a Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD, which are both already done and out on the Wii U, as far as a second $60 release. And then how do they release that? They probably trickle them out separately. I would be very surprised if Nintendo puts out 2 $60 Zelda titles at the same time. So hopefully we see more of a year-long celebration of Zelda's 35th anniversary instead of it just being kind of one game and then some merchandise and different things like what they did with Mario. We may see them do something with even like the original Legend of Zelda like they did for the original Mario game, where it's Mario 35 and you're playing online against other people. Maybe we see them do some Nintendo Switch online stuff to kind of help celebrate as well. But I hope they go further for Zelda's 35th, because I think this kind of could be the year of Zelda for Nintendo when you look at it. If they released a couple collections and then they close out the year of 2021 with Breath of the Wild 2, what a fantastic year that would be for Nintendo's when it comes to a sales perspective. Breath of the Wild was already the most successful Zelda game of all time, and it has definitely taken the franchise to new heights. So to see the sequel for that game being released as a holiday title for 2021, which is what it's most heavily rumored and speculated to be released in, I think it makes a bunch of sense to get gamers that are already interested in Zelda a chance to go replay through some of the classics if they haven't gotten a chance to, or for somebody like me who hasn't played those games in years but would love to re-experience them in a good frame rate, good resolution, and on a great HD TV experience. I would love to have that option, and I think that it makes a bunch of sense to do this for if you're Nintendo. So let's wait and see what we see officially. I hope we're around the corner from another Nintendo Direct before too much longer. They will probably be talking about Mario in their next Direct, since that's already slated for a February release, as far as Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. So let's hope that we see them address Zelda sometime shortly after that. If we look at what they did with Mario 3D All-Stars Collection, they actually released it in September, but they didn't announce it until a couple weeks before release. So they kept that thing under wraps the entire time, and then said, hey, in 2 weeks this game is going to be available. So they could very easily do the same thing with The Legend of Zelda, and I would watch for the end of February, early March to mid-March for this thing to actually be announced, and then we will get an official date on when we can expect it in stores. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all to leave me a comment. Let me know what you want to see from the Zelda 35th collection. Also, let me know if you want to see another video where I dive into more detail about other collections that I would like to see, because we can definitely cover Wind Waker and Twilight Princess HD if that's something that you guys would like to see me talk about. So just please comment that down below. And then before we do end the video, I just want to quickly invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out on this video if you enjoy the content today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming and console news as we're in the new generation of gaming. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.